You've been lied to your entire life. They told you that caring deeply makes you attractive, that showing your feelings proves your worth, that chasing after people demonstrates your commitment. But here's the truth. Niccolò Machiavelli understood 5 centuries ago. The moment you stop caring is the exact moment everyone starts chasing you. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why this ancient principle of power is the most magnetic force in human psychology. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that the person you wanted most was the one who seemed least interested? The job opportunity that felt most exciting was the one that remained uncertain. The friend whose approval you craved was the one who gave it sparingly. This isn't coincidence. This is the invisible law of human desire that Machiavelli weaponized to build empires. The paradox that controls everything. Machiavelli was a political philosopher who studied power in its rawest form. He watched kingdoms rise and fall. He observed rulers command millions. And he discovered something disturbing about human nature. We are not rational creatures driven by logic. We are emotional animals driven by scarcity, fear, and the relentless pursuit of what we cannot have. In his masterwork, The Prince, Machiavelli posed a question that still haunts leaders today. Is it better to be loved or feared? His answer shocked the world. He said, if you can't have both, choose fear. Because love is fragile, conditional, and dependent on other people's feelings. But fear, respect born from strength, that's reliable, that endures, that keeps people coming back. But here's where it gets deeper. Machiavelli understood that the person who cares less in any relationship, whether romantic, professional, or social, holds all the power. Why? Because caring is currency. And the moment you spend it too freely, you become cheap. You become common. You become forgettable. The science behind the chase. Your brain is wired to pursue uncertainty. There's a chemical called dopamine that surges through your neural pathways, and most people think it's the pleasure chemical. They're wrong. Dopamine isn't about satisfaction. It's about anticipation. It's about the chase, not the catch. And this is where everything changes. When something is predictable, your brain gets bored. When someone is always available, always responsive, always eager, your dopamine system flatlines. There's no mystery, no challenge, no reason to pursue. But when someone is unpredictable, when their attention is rare, when their approval feels just out of reach, your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. This is called variable reinforcement. And it's the same principle that makes gambling addictive. You don't know when the reward is coming, so your brain stays locked in pursuit mode. Slot machines make billions because sometimes you win. If you won every time, you'd stop playing. If you never won, you'd stop playing. But that maybe keeps you pulling the lever. Why desperation repels and detachment attracts. Let me tell you what happens when you care too much. You leak your strategy. You reveal your hand. You show people exactly where to strike to get what they want from you. Every text you send too quickly, every time you rearrange your schedule to accommodate someone who wouldn't do the same for you, every moment you seek validation from people who barely think about you, you're broadcasting a message. I need you more than you need me. And that message is relationship poison. Machiavelli knew that the greatest leaders never show their desperation. They never chase. They never explain. They never justify their worth. Because the moment you defend your value, you've already lost. Value that needs to be explained isn't valuable at all. Think about the most magnetic people you know. They're not the ones trying hardest to be liked. They're not posting desperately for validation. They're not over-explaining their decisions. They're the ones who seem complete without anyone's approval. They're the ones who can walk away without looking back. They're the ones who make you feel like access to them is a privilege, not a guarantee. This is strategic detachment, and it's not about being cold or cruel. It's about being so secure in yourself that nothing and no one can shake your peace. It's about understanding that your worth isn't determined by who texts you back, who validates your choices, or who gives you attention. Your worth is inherent, fixed, non-negotiable. The power dynamic shift. Here's where Machiavelli's method becomes a weapon. In every interaction, someone holds the power. And power always flows to the person who cares less. Not because they're heartless, but because they're not desperate. They're not afraid of losing what they never needed in the first place. When you stop chasing approval, something shifts. The people who once ignored you start noticing your absence. The friends who took you for granted suddenly wonder why you're not as available. The romantic interest who kept you on the back burner starts feeling the heat when you turn cold. This isn't manipulation. This is natural human psychology. Machiavelli saw this play out in politics constantly. The advisor who begged for the king's ear was ignored. The counselor who came and went as they pleased, who spoke truth even when it hurt, who could walk away from the kingdom entirely, that person commanded respect, because they needed nothing from the king, and people who need nothing cannot be controlled. The detachment blueprint. So how do you actually do this? How do you stop caring in a world that's built on connection? Let's be clear, this isn't about becoming emotionless or shutting people out. This is about emotional independence. It's about building a life so fulfilling that other people's approval becomes optional, not essential. First, stop making people your priority when you're their option. Look at your relationships honestly. Who reaches out first? Who makes the plans? Who compromises their schedule? Who sacrifices their peace? If the answer is always you, you've already lost the power dynamic. Pull back. Not to play games, but to restore balance. Let them come to you. Second, develop an abundance mindset. As long as you believe that this person, this job, this opportunity is your only chance, you'll reek of desperation. But when you truly understand that there are infinite possibilities, infinite people, infinite paths to success, you stop clinging, you stop chasing, you start choosing. Third, embrace the power of walking away. This is the ultimate test. If you're afraid to lose someone, they control you. If you can't imagine your life without their approval, you've given them your power. But the moment you become genuinely okay with losing anything or anyone, you become dangerous. Not in a harmful way, but in a magnetic way, because people sense when you don't need them. And that independence is intoxicating. Fourth, master the art of silence. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your choices, your boundaries, or your standards. When someone questions why you're less available, don't justify it. When someone tries to guilt you for prioritizing yourself, don't defend it. Silence is a weapon. It creates discomfort, and discomfort makes people fill the space. They reveal themselves while you remain a mystery. Fifth, invest in yourself with the same energy you once invested in chasing others. Build your skills, develop your body, expand your mind. Create a life so rich that other people want an invitation into it. When you become genuinely focused on your own growth, you stop performing for an audience. And paradoxically, that's when the audience grows. What happens when you stop caring? The transformation is almost eerie. The person who ignored your messages suddenly double texts. The friend who never made time starts asking when you're free. The opportunities you chased start presenting themselves without effort. This isn't magic. This is the natural response to a shift in energy. When you stop chasing, you stop being prey. You become the prize. And prizes don't chase anyone. They sit still, radiating value, while others compete for access. You'll notice something else too. The quality of people in your life improves. When you stop accepting crumbs of attention, when you stop tolerating disrespect disguised as friendship, when you stop settling for less than you deserve, the low-value people filter themselves out. They can't operate in an environment where their games don't work. And the high-value people, the ones who recognize your worth, they step forward. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He knew that weak leaders surround themselves with manipulators and opportunists because they need validation so desperately that they'll accept it from anyone. But strong leaders, the ones who don't need anyone's approval, they attract loyalty, respect, and genuine connection. Because their power isn't borrowed, it's inherent. The dark truth about approval. Here's what nobody tells you. Most people don't actually care about you. They care about what you provide them. The attention, the validation, the entertainment, the convenience. And the moment you stop providing it, they move on. This isn't cynical. This is reality. Machiavelli wasn't pessimistic about human nature. He was realistic. He understood that people are fundamentally self-interested. They act based on what benefits them. And when you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You stop being hurt when people don't reciprocate your energy, because you realize their behavior has nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with their nature. This is liberating. When you accept that most people's opinions are projections of their own insecurities, you stop giving those opinions power. When you understand that approval is often just a transaction, you stop selling your peace for it. And when you grasp that the people who truly matter will value you whether you chase them or not, you finally become free. The Machiavellian mindset. So what does this look like in practice? It means you respond, but you don't react. When someone tries to provoke you, you observe with detached amusement instead of engaging. When someone withdraws attention, you don't chase it. You notice it, learn from it, and reallocate your energy elsewhere. It means you become emotionally economical. You stop giving your reactions away for free. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't even listening. You stop defending your boundaries to people who wouldn't respect them anyway. It means you cultivate mystery. You don't broadcast every thought, every feeling, every plan. You keep people guessing. Not because you're playing games, but because your inner world is sacred. It's not for public consumption. Access to your true self becomes something earned, not given freely to anyone who asks. It means you develop a poker face for your emotions. You can feel deeply without showing it. You can care without appearing desperate. You can be hurt without giving others the satisfaction of knowing they affected you. This isn't dishonesty. This is emotional intelligence. The final truth. Machiavelli's method isn't for everyone. It requires a level of self-awareness and self-control that most people never develop. It means accepting that you might be misunderstood, called cold, or accused of not caring. Let them think that. Your detachment is your armor. Your indifference is your power. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't belong to the people who love the hardest or care the most. It belongs to the people who can walk away without looking back, to the ones who refuse to be controlled by their emotions or manipulated by others, to the ones who understand that caring less doesn't make you heartless, it makes you strategic. When you master this, you don't just survive in a world that exploits emotional vulnerability. You dominate it. You become the center of gravity that others orbit. You transform from someone who chases approval into someone whose approval is chased. So stop texting first. Stop over-explaining. Stop defending your worth to people who couldn't see it if it was glowing. Start protecting your peace like it's your most valuable asset. Start moving through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their value isn't up for debate. Because the moment you stop caring what they think is the moment they can't stop thinking about you. That's not a theory. That's Machiavelli's law. And it's been working for 500 years. If this message hit differently, if you felt something shift inside you, then you're ready. Subscribe to this channel because we're going deeper into the psychology of power, the philosophy of detachment, and the strategies that separate the controlled from the controllers. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the one relationship where you need to stop caring and start commanding respect? Share this video with someone who's still chasing people who don't deserve them, because power doesn't beg, Power doesn't chase. Power watches, chooses, and always, always cares less.